Upcoming retrograde class series, frequently asked question number 1. Is there a difference between retrograde planets in the natal chart versus in transit? The answer: retrograde planets in the natal chart need always to be understood according to the individual karmic and evolutionary reality of the soul. We look at a natal chart and we ask the question, why is this planet retrograde? What's it reflect relative to the soul's ongoing evolutionary journey? Planets in transit, when they're retrograde, while it is manifesting universally for everyone, it still needs to be applied according to an individual context. Thus, we actually can't say what a planet means, whether it's in transit or in the natal chart, without appropriately applying it to the individual context of any particular soul. Therefore, we can say any general interpretations or ideas about retrograde that are meant to be universal and blanketly apply to everyone, whether they're in transit or in natal chart, are generally wrong. We can take the Mercury retrograde example as a very common expression of that. While there are certain principles and energetics that are universally true for Mercury and all of the planets in their retrograde motion, to see a planet retrograde in the natal chart, we actually can't look at that and say, okay, this is what it means. This is the specific karmic implication of this planet, and this is what they're meant to work on. This is the evolutionary intention. Everything needs to be applied according to individual context. Likewise, to see Mercury going retrograde in the sky in transit, we can't say, okay, here are the things you should do and should not do. We have to appreciate it that there are certain times in our life where the Mercury retrograde archetype is actually going to actively bring us into engaging with specific areas of development and communication and things that we're actually cultivating and working on clarifying. Whereas other times it's going to say, step away from all of that, don't engage anymore. There's something more fundamental that needs to be understood and revised and clarified first. Right? It might be a matter of needing to really get involved in something that we're editing and cultivating, or actually taking a step back from all of that. Once again, it needs to be understood according to the individual context of the soul. What we can say is universally true for Mercury retrograde and really any retrograde archetype is it's not about doing it the way that we're used to. It's not about just staying in that automated movement to unconsciously act according to our conditioned tendencies and patterns. So the retrograde archetype for everyone invites the possibility, invites the gesture to slow down, to regroup, to reorient to how we are in relationship to that particular planetary function, either throughout our lives, thus it's a crucial part of our own self-development, our own soul growth, or for that particular time, if we're looking at a transit. Learn more about the retrograde archetype in transit and the natal chart in the upcoming retrograde class series. We start the 30th of April with Uranus retrograde. Learn more in the link below, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.